Yeah, I wish it was better news. I wish that there was, it's, we needed, there's been some growers for the last 2 years, for instance, peaches they haven't had any peaches at all on our trees, none.
Right.
And so it's very difficult to make a living. The old adage was, you can't make any money with an empty basket. And it's hard. It's really hard, so my heart goes out to everybody who doesn't have it, and I'm in that camp at this point in time, so it's tough days.
We've gone live now and we're all set to go ahead and start.
Good morning. Welcome to the Berrien County Finance Committee meeting. I would ask Stephanie Carlson, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Yarborough,
Present via Zoom from the city of Benton Harbor.
Commissioner Hinkleman,
Present, Zoom, Waterville.
Commissioner Scott,
Present, Zoom, New Buffalo Township.
Commissioner Freeling.
Oh, is it frozen?
I saw her, but I didn't.
Yeah, she's there.
I think I'm back.
Oh,
Okay.
Present via Zoom, Baroda Township.
thank you. All members are present. Annette, would you help us with the agenda? Good morning, all.
Good morning. So I may have missed part of your comments there, Mamie. Jake, I think you're first up with the bid opening.
Thank you.
Yeah, good morning. So we're doing bid 2021-47. We went out for bid for this once and nobody bid on it, so the road department went out for bid again. It is the weed brush guardrail spraying.
Yeah.
We sent it to 10 people and 2 responded. This first one is from True Green, sealed.
Commissioner Scott, will you listen to the bids and report on the bids and waivers for us?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, this is True Green Limited Partnership out of South Bend. I didn't have that written down because it was not on the outside of the envelope. Their bid looks like it's $8,506.60. Make sure. Yeah. Okay, the next bid is from Dalton's Chemical Vegetation out of North Webster, Indiana. Sealed.
Would you say the name again?
Dalton's Chemical Vegetation Control.
Thank you.
Yep. See bidding proposal page. Okay. It says see bidding proposal page, and then it says 0.095 cents per linear foot of guardrail treated. Same for road. So I guess, Chris, do you want, it says spraying on approximately 234,000 feet of guardrail. So 234 times 0.095 would be 22,230. And that says for guardrail, it doesn't say, oh. Let me do this as 2 separate, guardrail and road. 22,230 and 2,300 feet of road is 218.50. So their total bid is 2,448.50. Which leads me to look back at the other to make sure to see if they had anything split like that.
Jake, before you go backwards,
Yep.
so they bid two things. So the first bid is $22,230.
Yep. So that's they have, yeah.
Okay, and then you have to add the 2448.50, correct? One was for guardrail, one was for road.
Yeah. The road was 218.50.
2448.50. And guardrail was $22,230.
Let me do this again. Guardrail is 234,000 feet at 0.095 is 22,230.
Right.
And then the road was 2,300 at 0.095 is 218.50. And then if I add those together, I get the 22,448.50. I can't hear it.
Are you ready to say something? Oh, okay.
Sorry, ma'am. I'm having a conversation with Shelley on a completely separate topic.
I could hear it. No, I couldn't. I just saw you move. Say what the total of that is. That is tangled up.
$22,448.50.
Is the total. I have that.
Yes.
Okay, 22,000. Okay, thanks.
Okay. And the first bid, looking back at it, they had the same quantity, but their price instead of 0.095 was 0.036. So there's the difference there. So I guess their guardrail was 84.24. Their road was 82.60. And that made the total the 85.06.60. And that's the only people that bid on that, and that is the only bid.
Okay, so I'm going to be looking for a motion to refer the bids back to the department with the approval to move forward with the lowest bidder if they are an approved responsible bidder that meets specifications and requirements. In addition, they authorize the county administrator to execute the subsequent contract associated with this bid and any contract modifications up to $5,000. Communication from the road department must be submitted to the finance committee in the event that they want to move forward with a bidder that was not the lowest bidder to provide justification and obtain additional approval.
Madam Chair.
May I have an agreement with that motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, Commissioner Scott, I'll make that motion.
Thank you. May I have a support?
I will second that motion.
Any questions or discussion? I'd like to know, is this a one-time thing or they do it every month or how does it work? Do you know, Jake? Does it say one-time cleanup or?
I think just going off of what Kevin said, the first time we bid this was it was one time at the beginning.
Okay. And we have no way of knowing that it's in line with other years. Chris Cook, do you have any way of knowing that?
When we get those bids back, we'll look at them versus prior years to make sure that it is in line with them. And I do believe that this is a one-time a year deal.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Any other questions, committee? Would you call the roll, please, Stephanie?
Commissioner Yarborough,
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeling.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries. Is there something else, Jake?
That was it for me. There's the bid waiver request, but you have those, so I'll stay on here for any questions or anything, but I think that's it for me.
Thank you very much. There was a waiver for the Was it something $7,000?
Yeah, $7,000 for IS department.
Yes. Would you like to talk to us about that, Administrator Doucette?
Ma'am, I apologize. I've got two conversations going at once. Can you repeat your question?
Yes, the $7,000 waiver for IS. Would you like to, or did we answer you over the computer, or would you like to bring that to us?
Yeah, so we did an emergency authorization. IS department requested up to $7,000 for contracted labor. This is for the email server maintenance. Chris Weihart reached out to me, I believe on Monday, just noting that he had extreme concerns about their ability to provide maintenance on the email server. They are working this week into next week on the go live for the court software. His ability to do both projects at the same time he just did not have the ability to do it. Chris assured me that this is something that he gave quite a bit of thought to and knew that the only way to ensure that the server maintenance for the email servers could get done was through the use of this vendor. I reached out to the chair of the board, to the vice chair, and then to the chair of finance to seek an emergency approval. All three agreed. We are notifying the finance committee after the fact, but this is something that I completely agree with. And we gave Chris the tools to ensure that this work got done in a very timely manner. I believe on Tuesday, his requisition was in, and on Wednesday, I believe that the authorization was given to finance to authorize the other requisition. Ma'am, does that answer your question?
Yeah, so it's done, because you said you would sign it and send it on.
Yes.
So that's for information. Do you all have any questions? Okay, it's done. Thank you. So that take care of the waiver and the bid. All right, what is the next item, Annette?
So the next item is going to be a committee meeting overview, which will just kind of be a reminder, a refresher for you guys, because you guys have pretty much been nonstop this whole time. Let me share my screen.
I've read that, Annette, and I have to tell you, I don't have any problems at all in everything you printed. The only issue that I would like to make sure is that Stephanie stays on as our finance secretary.
Oh,
Comment.
she's very excited about that.
I'm not going to say thank you.
All right, so committee meetings are scheduled to resume in their normal fashion on July 1st. And what I basically did here was pull this information out of your bylaws. You know, each committee works with the county administrator to make sure that we're implementing everything that is the responsibility of your specific committees, or I'm sorry, with your specific areas of coverage. You bring resolutions out of your committee to be approved by the full board, and then study and advise the board on those matters that fall under your area of responsibility. Is the procedures. So the administrative duties, as Commissioner Scott's already talked about, are done through the secretary. Secretaries create the agendas and prepare the minutes for your review. Those agendas are prepared with the consultation with the county administrator to make sure that we have everything covered that we're needing to do, in your areas of business. Typically, in the case of night meetings, the parent committee meetings are not held unless there's specific business that we have to do, such as bid openings. There's, just as a reminder, we need one committee member's signature to bring a resolution out of the committee for full board to consider. And then the vice chair people are selected annually.
Okay.
So for the finance committee, they advise the board with respect to appropriations for the state, county budgets, the operating expenses, bonds, contracts, loan administration, apportionments, equalization falls under you guys. So that one comes out of there. And those are prescribed by statute. So what we've done here, and I will probably mute myself so that you guys can have a conversation with, I believe Doug James is on here as well, and Stephanie. So this is the reporting structure to finance. And this was, these are all of the different areas that go through you for business that we need to have approved. You'll see that not all of them are set up on a regular reporting schedule. The ones down at the bottom are financial services, information systems, and the treasurer have set times that they come to see you guys. The rest of them are even outside committees as well that would just, whenever we need to do business, we just have a parent committee that we can kind of flow information through. So I'm going to go ahead and mute mine so that, because Stephanie are in the same room. So if you wanted to have a conversation about this reporting schedule, and if there's some tweaks that you guys wanted to make, or if you're good with the way that it is now, now would be the time to go ahead and do that.
Thank you. I would like to ask, do you all have any questions of Doug James? Or Doug James, you have a statement or something you want to make to us, saying that you promise upon your honor we will do these things?
I don't have anything to add. The question, I guess, becomes what, when we meet, from a financial services standpoint, what do you want to see? What do you want the format to be, and so forth? I guess that's the question I've got from my perspective.
Okay. Members?
Doug, Commissioner Scott, I was completely happy with giving us the sheets of paper on the in and out of the contingency and where we stand on the budget to date, or to the date you filled out the form, not necessarily the date of our meeting, but I think that's very informative, and I think we need to know whether or not we're over budget, under budget, ahead of schedule, behind schedule. I really, really want to see those, and I appreciate all the work you put into generating that form.
Okay.
And is that a monthly thing, Commissioner Scott? That's what we usually see it.
Yes, I believe it was a monthly thing. Yes.
I'd like to see that continue also.
All right. Sounds good. Is there any other fund information as far as other funds that you are specifically want to focus on, or pretty much just the general fund as we have in the past?
Doug, I'd like to make one comment. Even though the road department is not, that's under the admit committee, I think it might be just as important to find out where we're at, maybe quarterly, I would suggest, on the road department funding and the budget on that also.
Okay.
And I don't know if that was ever clear. It was kind of like, well, do we accept all the bids and all? So we're kind of like co-committees that, they come before us.
Right. I was just, like I said, Mamie, I was just wondering about the financials and where we're looking at in the road department.
Yeah.
Due to the fact that they run under a different year than we do under Public Act 51. Because at the end of the year, we are the ones that get, and we have to meet on the 31st of the year, even though they're not our committee, to approve any transfers in and out of their fund balance and that. So I think it's imperative, if not quarterly, that we as the finance committee know where we stand financially with the road department money.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Freely.
I'd like to ask Doug if he has any recommendations of other departments that he would think would be beneficial for us to just have purview over occasionally. I know we have a number of different departments. I think of like the health department, and some of the grant funding, and making certain that the complement approval of staff and things like that might have the same benefits that the road department would, of just having, whether it be quarterly or biannually.
They do meet, obviously, the health board does meet on a monthly basis. They also have reports that come out of that financial reporting that's discussed, which we really haven't had any exposure to on this side for whatever reason. And that could be a natural document, I guess, that could come to you to give you a status update. And I think that may be helpful. I will get a hold of a copy of their document. Like I said, I don't necessarily see it. But we certainly can look into that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And would you bring the information to us, or would it be someone from the health department?
It's really up. I'll leave that up to Brian as to how he wants us to proceed with that.
Okay.
We certainly can bring it to you, and if there's additional questions or issues that may arise, that then I guess we could have a conversation with someone from their side, so to speak.
Okay.
And I wanted to try to work with some other departments as well, as far as, regular reviews of where they stand and where they see there are issues and so forth. So that's one of the things I want to be able to do in the future. I've got to free up some time to do it, but that's, I think it would be helpful.
I think so too. That's very good, because otherwise we only see it when we're making the budget.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
If I can add, that the health board does have somebody who sits on there. That's Robert Harrison is your liaison to health part. And he also gives an update every time they have a meeting, or he should be anyway, through the commissioner reports format of the board meeting. So you are kind of getting what they're doing through that avenue.
Thank you.
The unfortunate part is that I don't know that they really see the financial part of that. So I think those summarized reports that they would have might provide some of that.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So I've watched several of the health board meetings, and they do receive financial updates. It should be simple enough. If you all want to see this stuff, we can have it recycled, and the finance portion of those meetings, we can have it presented to finance. But I do agree with Annette's comment, which is the chair of PHS is assigned to the health board. He's going to those meetings. Any items coming from health department goes through PHS, and it's certainly a reasonable request just to ask for a somewhat regular update just on total spending for the health department. But it would probably make sense to let Bob know what you're asking for, so that he's not completely blindsided by the request.
Yeah, if he reported it to us, because not only what they're spending, but what they receive.
Yeah.
The majority of the dollars in health department from grant, from things that come up and they apply for.
But we do have a new finance person working for health, asking her to just give a snapshot of what's going on over there. I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think that we should notify Bob of what's being asked, and then just we make arrangements for health staff to provide that update.
And Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Scott. I think
Yes.
Mr. Freeling for bringing that up, because one of the things that I think we should all be concerned about is in these past year of 2020 and now in through 2021, we as a board cannot forget of all the new people who've been hired out at the health department. And a lot of those people were hired, if you guys happen to remember, and that funding to pay for their wages and everything was through a grant program through COVID related things. Now, if this COVID is winding down, what I want to make sure of is that if that winds down, let's say, then what do we do with those people? Because they were supposed to go, those people were supposed to go away once the grant funding had stopped. So if we keep an eye on that, otherwise we're growing a huge department at the Department of Health. And then that's a strain on the county's budget and general fund if those employees are kept on after grant funding has ceased to exist. So I think that we need to keep a little bit of an eye on that. So I appreciate Commissioner Feeling's question on that, on the reports, so that we can keep a financial eye on the taxpayer dollars.
Thank you. Any other comment? Commissioner Freeling?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mute myself. I think the biggest thing for me is just making certain that the document of the budget, occasionally we get that snapshot. I know that we're seeing the general fund. There were a number of special funds that are included in our budget, and just making certain that we're on course. But I will yield to the staff to kind of come back to this committee when and if there is thoughts or concerns of what more needs to be reported, so we have that clear snapshot picture.
And I am fine with Chairman Harrison just putting some emphasis on the dollars. Everything that he does, he's very thorough, he knows. And so that we'd ask that he'd say a little bit more about the ones, the grants received, because we know we sign things, we vote on for them to go out for it, and we know when it comes. But from Harrison would be sufficient for me, for him to put it in his, in his words when he makes a report to us. And I'm not expecting that would be every month necessarily, but whatever. Just add some dollars to it. Okay, the next item, Annette?
Yeah, so then if we're done with that little conversation, I will say, yeah, you can. So I will say that what we typically try to do with regard to resolutions when they come before the committees, you'll see community developments on here. There's not really a regular reporting schedule, but probably community development's the one that comes to you the most with resolutions and that kind of thing. But if it is a standard kind of annual renewal sort of thing that you have seen in the past, and that is a just a procedural thing with the resolution, we will usually try to do that through the secretaries, just to keep your business flowing in the mornings, and so that's not kind of bogging down your meeting. So the secretaries also are getting the information about what the resolutions are, the backgrounds of them and that kind of thing. And so that while you don't see a regular reporting schedule on here, they do come to you when they have certain specific items that they need to cover.
Okay.
And then the next one is just, so I tried to remember the different things that come before you that are not necessarily resolutions, but that fall under your area of responsibility. And so like all bid openings for all departments comes through finance. The waiver request, of course, is kind of relatively new. And then actually you have some today, the road contract modification. So if I forgot anything else, feel free to let me know. I will be doing this with each one of the committees. So next week, the plan is to have PHSC and admin meet, and I'll be going over this similar presentation. If you go further into it, you'll see that it has their committees and their area responsibilities as well. Commissioner Scott this morning reminded me that maybe we needed a little refresher on the committee of the whole. So when I do this presentation for them, I will insert some slides for that. But the committee of the whole, and I'm not quite sure when exactly that's going to get put back into place, but that normally starts at 8:35 in the morning. And the the reason or purpose for the committee of the whole meetings is usually to provide a forum for all of the commissioners to receive information. There's not action that's taken at that meeting other than approving the minutes. But if our administrator has a specific topic that's going to kind of touch on all of you, then that's kind of the area where he would go through and do that kind of information. When we put that into place, we did shorten the amount of time. So he does come around to the different committees. That will probably continue. But if everybody's going to need to hear the information, that would be the forum for that. So we have a standard agenda list for what we do in that one, and it's basically just that. We do have public comments, we call the meeting to order, we do roll call, approve the minutes. That's where so we've kind of gotten away from this, but that's where I'll be doing your requisition review, where I'll come in, and if you have any questions of the requisition, the full board can ask those questions at that time. And then the scheduled discussion is usually the subject of that one. And I believe that's all for the committee review.
One thing I wonder about, we're always working on policies. Is that anything that needs to be written there, or we just know? You know how we've been working on this purchasing policy for years.
Right, I probably should have put under there that there's certain finance policies that are directly related to your area would also come through there. So I will get that added on there. But for the most part, policies are PHSC, except for the finance ones.
Okay, all right. Commissioners, anything else you'd like to say towards that? And I think that describes what we do. Thank you, Annette.
Madam Chair, I have one question.
Yes, Commissioner Scott.
I'm still a little unclear about. This question is for Annette. We are not going to have our 8:30 meeting of the Committee of the Whole starting on July 1. But we are going to have to be at the county building to report to our committees at 9:15. Is that correct?
I don't understand. So what time, are you asking what time would we come in?
Right, because if we're not doing Committee of the Whole, but if we are doing committee meetings, then the commissioners have to be at the county building in your committee room by 9:15. Is that correct?
So Brian, I'm also going to yield to you because I think you've been having some conversations with the chair, but as I understand it, we weren't going to kick off Committee of the Whole meetings quite yet. We were just sort of going to get back into the flow of doing the regular committee meetings and then the full boards. And I am working also on a side note, the pictures. We haven't been able to do the photos as Commissioner Scott brought up last week. So we are trying to arrange that. That time slot would normally be when your Committee of the Whole meeting is, and we would just cancel it for that day. It's looking right now like July 8th. That's just tentative. That's not final, but Brian.
Yeah, so for the month of July, we're planning a return to Committee of the Whole. We have at least 3 items that will need to be covered in Committee of the Whole. And I anticipate that 2 of the 3 are going to be lengthy. So what we're trying to do right now is figure out the availability of the staff and consultants that can get here and meet face-to-face with the Committee of the Whole. I'm referring to Jim Hettinger on strategic planning. That session is likely going to require an hour and a half to 2 hours. That will mean that we have to cancel all of the committees that day to allow for Committee of the Whole. Yesterday, we met with Transit. The Transit Committee is requesting an update to the full committee just to get everyone on the same page as it relates to what Transit's doing. Annette and I have been communicating with a researcher from Western Michigan University who has been doing some work on behalf of the county. I don't think you all have seen her since 2019. She has a presentation on opioid issues. That's one that we could absolutely get in front of Committee of the Whole. So those are all items that we could knock out in the second and third week of July for Committee on the Whole. My plan was, let's get you all in here the first week of July, knock the dust off of in-person meetings, and then plan your first real meeting of the Committee of the Whole for the second week of July. Does that make sense to everybody?
What about the pictures? Were the pictures going to be the second week of July?
Well, I've got to get a haircut before you can have pictures.
Put
But-
a rubber band on it.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'll defer to Annette. She's been working on trying to figure out everyone's schedule for the pictures. Annette, can you address that one?
Yeah, I think I might be taking your committee of the whole slot on July 8th for the photos. So we might not be able to start those maybe until the following week, perhaps, if that works. And the other one I think was the senior centers. We need to get the
Oh,
the
thank you.
audit,
Yep.
have her come in and do the audit review that she normally does for committee of the whole as well.
So that's Linda Eli,
Mhm.
and we've just been holding that one, waiting for a return to normal. So that is also out there and needs to be addressed.
Okay,
Could I interject real
yes.
quick? You might want to consider Raymond Robinson as well, sometime in later on in July,
Okay.
just to report out on the annual.
Commissioner Scott, you're going to be busy.
Annual.
You know what? It'll be an enjoyable time because on July 1st, I'm bringing some feather dusters so we can get the dust off of everybody. And I think that'll only take about 2.5 minutes to get the dust off, and we're going to just flow right back into it.
Yeah.
We have good staff that are taking care of our dust bunnies.
Yep. It'll be okay.
Commissioner Scott, I do believe that our staff has absolutely not been allowed to sit long enough to even accumulate any dust. They have been keeping us going while we continue to do this virtually. So,
Oh, I'm not saying they had dust on them, but they know how to get the dust off of us quickly, very quickly and efficiently. So I think that'll happen within the first 5 minutes.
absolutely.
So when we come July 1, we're going to go to our rooms that we normally go to. And should we come at 8:30, 8:35? What?
9:15.
Okay,
9:15 will be the beginning of your committee meetings.
okay. All
And
right.
Annette, you know what the most important thing is about us starting back up with meetings at the administration building? All the mailboxes will be cleaned out.
Well, I don't know.
And weekly, I expect you to go there weekly and clean out your boxes.
Okay.
All right, so the next thing on your agenda then is resolution F2106034 is the approval of the weekly bills. Does anybody have any question about the weekly bills? No? None? Okay, so we'll move that one to the full board today. The next one is F2106119. That's the road payables that you do every other week. Everybody good with those?
I'm fine.
Good. All right, and then waiver request, Jake, I know you guys already did, was there just the one? I didn't see that document. Just the one, so you guys already did that one.
Yeah.
So the contract modifications out of the road department. We'll do the easy one first. So this one doesn't need approval by finance. It's under $5,000. So this was just a net change of 900. It was the contract modification to project 21140 and 21050. So that was just a minor change there. So we'll go ahead and get the county administrator to sign that one. This is for bid 2021-023.
And you said $900, that's plus an addition?
Yes, it was an addition. It was some items that needed to be included that were included on the bid sheet, but they were not, they were on the plan set, but they were not on the bid sheet is how that worked. And so it was a monument box and a water shut off.
Okay, thank you.
And then the next one is bid number 2021-024 stuff. And that project number is 21051. This is a net change of $39,103.96. They added an additional road to this project, and I didn't know, Chris, if you wanted to provide any more information on that one.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So Lincoln Township had budgeted a certain amount of money for road improvements this year. And turned out that they were not going to spend what they anticipated because what they anticipated included some funds set aside for the sidewalks on Ridge Road. There's a project being done this summer on Ridge Road from Glen Lord to Marquette Woods. And they studied the sidewalk concept and then ultimately did not move forward with that. So they had a little bit of extra money budgeted, and Ridge Road on the other side of I-94 from Red Arrow Highway to the village limits is in bad shape and is on the list for 2022. So they wanted to insert that into this year's program. And then while we were at it, we looked at the sections of Ridge Road south of Marquette Woods to the dead end. And that fit nicely within their budgeted funds and gave us the opportunity to fully complete paving improvements of the Ridge Road corridor from start to finish. So seemed like a good opportunity to do that and fit within everyone's budget. So it made sense to proceed with that.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you very much.
So on this one, I need a motion to approve the contract modification to project number 21051 in the amount of $39,103.96 and authorize the county administrator to execute the contract modification.
That is the motion. May I have a
I'll
movement?
make that motion, what she said, Mamie.
Right, thank
All
you.
right.
And may I have a support, please?
I will second it.
Thank you so much. Any questions? Would you call the roll, Stephanie?
Commissioner Yarborough,
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeling.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes. Annette?
Annette, you're muted.
I'm sorry. I need a motion to approve your minutes of June 3rd, 2021.
Okay. May I have a
Motion, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Freeling, may I have a support?
Yes, ma'am. I will support.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly supported. Any questions? Stephanie, would you call the roll, please? Or Commissioner Freeling, did you have something? Okay. Stephanie, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Yarborough,
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeling.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Annette?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and look for public comments.
Okay.
And Annette, do we have a total today? Watching?
Today you have, right now you have 5. Do you? Maybe I'm a little behind.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
while Annette is looking for public comments, we do have Chris here. Earlier, late last week, over the weekend, some of the Board of Commissioners received complaints about just the amount of dust from areas that are under construction. Chris has been working with the team at the road department to come up with some solutions for dust control. I was hoping just to take a minute and have Chris speak with you all about what they're doing, just in case any of you are getting complaints about dust from the road projects. Chris, are you willing to address that?
Sure, I will. We have received numerous complaints about dust this year. It's been a perfect storm, if you will, of drought-like conditions with roads that were gravelled either last year or early this year and trying to get back ahead of those. So it's been quite an unfortunate situation. Those questions, comments, complaints, whatever you want to call them, have led us to look at our procedures, and our new superintendent, Greg Trail, has spent a significant amount of time thinking about that. And I believe that he has some good ideas, which first of all, for the immediate term, are going to be to use some of our additional dust control treatment that will be a water-based product that will help keep the dust down of the, I'm going to call it the middle half of the road, to try to be somewhat efficient with what we're doing and live within a budget. We're going to try to do that and see if that tamps down the lion's share of the dust. Also, he's asking for some additional police patrols between the time that a road is ground up and gravelled before it's paved, because he's noticed a number of, well, I guess we'll blame it on kids trying to tear up the dirt roads. And so we thought some police patrols might help there. The challenge that we face with this is if we use the calcium chloride for dust control, it seals up the pavement and then does not allow us to pave or seal coat properly over the top of that without the plows coming in the winter and tearing that pavement right off again. So we want to try to use this water-based product that we are using and have used in the past. And again, use that immediately, see how it works. And then Greg, I believe, has some good ideas about using that and our scheduling for next year to improve this entire process to try to make it a bit more drought proof. We'll never be perfect, I would say, but I think we can do better, and we're learning and actually appreciate the comments that we've gotten because it's helped us reevaluate our methods. And I believe Greg's doing a great job on this.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions?
Madam Chair, I only have comments. I want to thank staff for taking a look at this. I know myself, I've received a number of complaints, and I do recognize that we are in the midst of a drought. And as you stated, Chris, it is a bit of the perfect storm. And so what I appreciate is we can't change the nature of being in a construction site, what that is and everything like that. But I really appreciated staff's ability to sort of look at the process, figure out what we could do more effectively, more efficiently, and really try to be innovative in the way that we approach this going forward. And so I do give kudos to everyone in trying to find a solution as we deal with what Mother Nature hands our way.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chris. Annette or Administrator Doucette?
I've got nothing to add that's tied to this agenda. I did just want to thank you all for the cooperation and the willingness to get back to in person. I know that we're looking forward to it. And for the Board of Commissioners meeting today, I'm just going to once again remind the public about the plan here. Anything we can do to just remind the local units of government that the state of emergency is going to end in just a couple of more weeks. My goal is to get that word out so that we don't have anyone scrambling at the last minute with the assumption that Zoom meetings will comply with the Open Meetings Act. Those are my comments, ma'am.
Thank you. And that, excuse me, Commissioner Scott?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to bring up one thing. Maybe I'm a little confused, but Brian, where are we standing on the proposal to increase the administrator's spending limit from 5,000 to 10,000? Because if that was already done, then we wouldn't have had the worry about the 7,000 emergency for the IS email server.
Yeah, I feel like Chris kind of did me a favor in making my point. So it's something that I've got to work with Doug and Annette on preparing the resolution to formally increase that. I'll bring it to finance, then we'll take it to Board of Commissioners. We'll get it done. I would anticipate sometime in July, we'll have that thing wrapped.
Thank you. I just wanted to know because I thought about that and I went, whoa, if we had done that, then we wouldn't have to be doing that.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions, commissioners? And then Annette, were there any comments?
There are.
Okay.
I gotta go back to a different screen. This is from Tony Benhart in Sodas Township. Question on how is the overage of HMA being handled for a project? Is the overage being sent back for a reweigh and a buyback ticket issued to go with the project? If not, what happens to the HMA material and whom is charged for it? And that is all of your public comments.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
Nope, that's all the business you had today.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. We will see you at 10:30.